What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So I have some good news to share with you guys when it comes to prescription medication. They are starting to enact the lowering of the cost of prescription medication. So we're going to talk about the implications and how this is going to impact people who are currently on Medicare and people receiving Social Security, as well as other retirees. So that's what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, if you guys can do me a favor, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and then click all. By clicking all, you'll get notified anytime we post a video. We do daily videos here, so by clicking the bell notification, clicking all, you should be getting updated every day. And just a reminder, thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. And if you'd like to follow me on Twitter and Threads, you can at the TEC Show Live. You can also follow my travel adventures on Instagram at Travel Explore Click. Okay, so I'm going to play this clip for you, and then we're going to talk a little bit about this. Here we go.
And Marion, our other big story today, prescription price cuts. The government just announced today that the prices of 10 popular and expensive drugs will now be able to be negotiated. This is all an attempt to drive down the high costs for many older Americans. So here's a look at the 10 right now. They include Eliquis, Jardiance, Enbrel, and Stelara as well. And as you can imagine, the makers of those drugs are pushing back against this. Our political reporter, Marianne Ahern, is here with what this all means today. Marianne?
It is a big announcement out of the White House today. Medicare now has the power to directly negotiate prices thanks to this Inflation Reduction Act. It's going to be the first time ever that Medicare has done this in history, but it won't happen without a court fight.
But this is finally, we had enough votes by a matter of one to beat Big Pharma. Well, we did it.
As President Biden announces plans for the first ever price negotiations for 10 prescription drugs, supporters like the Alliance for Retired Americans realize it is not completely a done deal.
The pharmaceutical industry is already in court with a half dozen cases around the country on some, we think, very questionable theories, because other parts of our healthcare system are already negotiating for drugs.
One of the drugs, Jardiance, lowers blood sugar for those with type 2 diabetes. The 10 drugs named today account for more than $50 billion of Medicare's costs last year alone. University of Chicago economist emeritus Thomas Phillipson has a warning.
This is going to greatly impact future innovation of new drugs, essentially, so that you don't get the same innovation coming in with treating diseases.
Negotiations, though, they are to begin by October 1st and expect to end in August 2024. The goal is lowered prices go into effect January 2026.
Reducing the cost of these 10 additional drugs alone will help more than 9 million Americans.
The drugs named today, they have been on the market for at least 7 years without any generic competitors. The Congressional Budget Office estimates it will save more than $160 billion over a decade, Alex.
All right, first step in a long process. Thank you, Mary.
Okay, so that's it. So right now we have 10 prescription medications that the price should go down. They'll be able to negotiate. And I like this. I think this is a good move. Obviously, they need to add to that list, and over time, I think that's what they plan to do. But how does this help the average person who is on Medicare? Well, it can help because Medicare can now save money because now they're able to negotiate. They weren't able to negotiate before, and they had to just accept whatever the cost was. And so if the pharmaceutical company wanted to raise their prices, there was no negotiating. It was just they raised their prices, and then Medicare would have to pay, and in turn, you would have to pay a little bit more. Your premium right now is about $164 on average. It would go up even higher just because they chose to raise, pharmaceutical companies chose to raise their prices. And so by negotiating prices, I think this is a really, really good move. And you can say what you want about President Biden, the Affordable Care Act, and all that stuff, but I think this was a move in the right direction. You're allowing Medicare to actually save money. That means you can prolong the program. Right now, they're talking about the trust fund for Medicare could be insolvent by 2031. Well, this will prolong the program if you're able to negotiate prices. And it's the way that things should be. I mean, in a capitalist society, I, as the consumer, should be able to determine if I don't want to buy something, I don't have to buy it at whatever price they're asking for. And that will fix itself. That if someone's charging too much for something and no one buys it, guess what they're going to do? They're going to lower the prices so you can negotiate with them. And that's the same situation that we should have when it comes to pharmaceuticals. We should be able to negotiate. We shouldn't be stuck with the price. And if they choose to raise the price, then they could go ahead and raise the price. Now, you did see that professor talking about research and development and the fact that they're not going to be able to do the same research and development as they could in the past. I don't believe that. I think if there's a market for it, they're going to go ahead and do what they can. So the pharmaceutical companies will spend money to do the research and development because they want to corner that market. They want to be able to sell those pharmaceuticals. So I don't think it's going to slow down any. Another thing that really bothers me about these pharmaceutical companies and about what this professor was saying that they're not going to have enough money, why don't they stop the commercials? Why are we seeing pharmaceutical companies advertise to the American people? There's only 2 countries in the world that actually have pharmaceutical companies where you watch commercials on TV and they're actually trying to sell this to the consumer and telling the consumer to go to their doctor and ask about this prescription medication. It is ridiculous. They could save a lot of money if they weren't advertising their drugs to the American people. And it's really painful to see. And when you travel, you'll see that you don't have commercials coming out talking about prescription medication. What kind of world do we live in where we need to have pharmaceutical companies advertising to us? It's just insane to me. So they could save money there and they can use that money for research and development instead of trying to force Medicare to pay whatever price these pharmaceutical companies want to charge. So I want to know what you guys think about this, so let me know down below. But this is good news. It really is good news because we're looking at a situation now where at least we have 10 prescription medications that they can negotiate prices, and hopefully they'll be able to negotiate them down. We're hoping they're not going to negotiate and end up having to pay more. I don't think that's the way that it'll work anyway, because Medicare could just say, you know what, we're not going to go with this. We're going to look elsewhere. And eventually you'll have a company that will come up and say, okay, we'll meet your demands, whatever they are. So this is something that's really, really good. If you guys like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.